She stole my identity to buy her dream house, then told me to be grateful I was helping her. Please stay with me as I tell you what really happened. And if this story shocks you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It all started when I applied for a rental apartment and got rejected. I was confused. I had a good job, no debts, and a clean record. But when I checked my credit report, everything had crashed. My credit score was ruined. I called the bank to find out why. That's when I heard something that made my stomach drop. I had a $623,000 mortgage under my name, but I never bought a house. I never signed anything. I never even looked at a house in that price range. I asked for the address linked to the loan. When they told me, my heart froze. That was my sister's new house, the one she had just moved into, the one she kept showing off online. Finally living my dream, she had posted. I didn't understand how this was possible, so I started looking into the loan document. My name was on everything, my social security number, my signature, all fake, but close enough to pass. Her name wasn't anywhere. She had used my identity to get a house loan, and she didn't even try to hide it well. I felt sick, angry, confused. She had lied, cheated, and stolen from me, and no one told me. Not her, not even my parents. When I confronted her, she didn't even apologize. She just looked at me and said, "You weren't using your credit anyway. You should be thankful I trusted you with something this big." Thankful for having my life destroyed? That moment changed everything. I used to think family was forever, that no matter what, they had your back. But after what she did, I realized something hard and painful. Sometimes, the worst betrayal comes from the people you love the most. And this was just the beginning. After finding out about the loan, I couldn't sleep. My hands kept shaking. I needed answers. So the next morning, I went straight to the bank and asked for a full copy of the loan document. They handed me a thick file. I sat down in the corner of the bank and opened it slowly. Each page felt heavier than the last. There it was, my full name, my social security number, my old email address, and even my phone number. All of it matched my real information. Then I saw the signature. It looked close to mine, but not exact. Still, to a bank officer, it probably looked fine. Whoever filled out the form had clearly practiced copying my name, but it wasn't mine. I had never signed anything like this. I flipped through the rest of the pages, hoping, just maybe, to find her name somewhere, but it wasn't there, not once. She had taken out the loan completely in my name. Every form, every paper, every agreement had me on it, not her. That's when I knew this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't something that just happened. She planned this. She must have gathered my personal details over time, old bills, mail, maybe even my tax forms from when we lived together briefly. I had never thought she'd do something like this, but now I realized she had everything she needed to pretend to be me. My stomach turned. I wasn't just a victim, I was the owner, at least on paper, of a massive loan. That meant the bank would come after me if payments weren't made. That meant I could be blamed, I could be sued, I could even be arrested if it ever got worse. I had to do something, but I didn't know what yet, so I started gathering proof. I took photos of every page. I emailed copies to myself. I saved everything in a secure folder. I even made backups on a flash drive. Then I started thinking back. When had she moved into the house? Who had helped her? Did she do it all alone? I checked the loan application again. There were fake pay stubs, a fake job title, even a fake employer's number. She'd gone all out to make it look real. The deeper I looked, the more I realized this was a full-blown crime. And not just against me, but against the bank too. It was identity theft. And it wasn't messy, it was neat, almost too neat. That's what scared me the most. I sat in my car for a long time outside her house. My fingers were tight around the steering wheel, and my chest felt heavy. I had gone over what I wanted to say 100 times, but nothing felt right. Still, I had to face her. Finally, I got out and walked up to the front door. I knocked once. The door opened quickly, like she had been standing there waiting. She gave me a small smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. It looked forced, nervous. Before she could speak, I pulled the papers from my jacket and held them up. I didn't say a word. I just pointed to the signature and looked her straight in the eyes. Her face changed. The smile disappeared. Her body went stiff. She looked at the paper, then back at me. I waited. She opened her mouth and the excuses came out fast. "It was just temporary," she said. "I was going to fix it. Then, you weren't even using your credit, so I thought it would be okay." And finally, I was desperate. I didn't have a choice. I didn't say anything. I just reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and hit record. I held it up without hiding it. I wanted her to know I was recording. She paused for a second, then kept talking. She started blaming others. The loan officer said it would go through if I had good info. I thought I could use yours just for the approval. She acted like this was normal, like borrowing someone's name for a house loan was something people did all the time. Then she tried to smile again. Look, it's not that big of a deal. I'm making the payments. You're not losing anything. I finally spoke. You lied. You faked everything. That's a crime. She shrugged. You're my brother. Families help each other. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She wasn't sorry. Not really. She was just hoping I'd let it go, like I always did. I looked around. The house was beautiful. New floors, fancy furniture, soft lights. She had everything she wanted, and she used me to get it. She started talking again, trying to calm me down. If you're this upset, maybe I can pay you something, like a little every month. I didn't respond. I turned around and walked out. I got in my car and sat there, staring at the steering wheel. My phone was still recording. Her voice was clear. Her words were all there. Now it wasn't just betrayal, it was evidence. And I was done staying quiet. I couldn't keep this to myself anymore. I needed to tell my parents. I thought maybe they would be shocked like I was. Maybe they'd be angry at her for lying, stealing and using me. I went to their house the next day. My mum welcomed me in, smiling like everything was normal. My dad was reading the newspaper on the couch. I sat down and placed the papers on the table in front of them. My mum's smile faded. My dad folded the paper and leaned forward. I didn't waste time. I told them what she had done. The loan, the fake documents, the signature, everything. I explained how I found out, and that I had proof. They didn't ask me to repeat it. They didn't seem shocked. My dad leaned back and stayed quiet. My mum's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry for me. She didn't ask if I was okay. She didn't ask how I was dealing with the damage. She just whispered, "What's going to happen to your sister?" I stared at her. "You're worried about her." She grabbed my hand and said, "She has 2 kids. She has a home now. If this goes public, she could lose everything." I pulled my hand away. She used me. She ruined my credit. She lied. You think that's okay? My dad finally spoke. "It's not okay, but we can't let this blow up. You don't need the police involved. It'll ruin the family name. We'll figure out a way to handle it quietly." I was stunned. "So what do you want me to do?" He looked straight at me. "Just take over the loan. Keep the house in your name. Let her keep living there. She'll pay you back." I laughed out loud, but nothing was funny. "You want me to be responsible for her house?" My mom wiped her eyes and said, "It's just money. We'll talk to her. She didn't mean harm." I stood up. "You both knew, didn't you?" Neither of them answered. The silence told me everything. I felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. My own parents had known and said nothing. Maybe they didn't help her do it, but they let it happen. And now they wanted me to carry the weight of her choices to keep things quiet. I walked out of that house with a heavy heart. My sister stole my identity, but now I saw the truth. My family was willing to let me suffer just to protect her. The pain went deeper than I ever thought possible, and I wasn't done yet. After that day, I didn't hear much from my family. No one checked on me. No one asked how I was doing. They acted like nothing had happened, like everything was fine. But my life was falling apart. Letters started showing up in the mail every week. Late fees, missed payments, warnings from the loan company. My phone rang non-stop with calls from collection agencies. I tried explaining to them, but none of them cared. As far as the bank saw it, I owed them money. My credit score dropped so low I couldn't even apply for a basic credit card. I went to a car dealership, hoping to trade in my old car and get something used. I got turned down on the spot. "Too risky," they said. When I tried to apply for an apartment, I was rejected again. No one wanted to rent to someone with debt like mine. I ended up crashing on a friend's couch. He offered me a pillow and a blanket, and that was more comfort than I'd gotten from my own parents. To stay afloat, I had to sell my computer, some furniture, even my guitar, things I had worked hard for, gone in days. Every morning, I woke up sore and tired. Every night, I stared at the ceiling, wondering how this had become my life. And through all of it, no one in my family reached out. No apology, no offer to help. Then I opened social media one day and saw her, my sister. She was smiling in her kitchen, holding a glass of orange juice. "Brunch in my dream home," her post said. The white counters behind her sparkled. Everything looked new. She had matching plates, fresh flowers, and soft lighting. Her life looked perfect. She didn't look guilty. She didn't look like someone hiding a secret. She looked happy. That photo hit me like a punch. While I was losing everything, she was posting pictures like nothing was wrong. No stress, no shame. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned off my phone. I didn't want to see her face. I didn't want to see her pretending that everything was okay. My world was broken. I was barely holding myself together. And still, everyone acted like I should stay silent and let it go. But the more they stayed quiet, the more I realized I had to speak up. If no one was going to stop this, I would have to do it myself. I didn't want this to turn into a court case. I didn't want to ruin what was left of the family. So I decided to try one last time. I called her and asked if we could meet. She agreed, and we met at a quiet cafe outside the city. She showed up wearing a bright outfit and acting like everything was normal. I didn't even say hello. I went straight to the point. I need you to fix this, I said. Legally, properly. She leaned back and sipped her drink. Fix what? She asked. Like she didn't know. I pulled out the papers again. The house, the loan, everything. You need to take responsibility. She didn't even look at the documents. Instead, she smiled in a way that made my stomach twist. You were fine with it, she said casually. Remember that message you sent? You said I could use your info if it helped me. I blinked. What message? She opened her phone and started scrolling. I have texts. I saved them. Want me to show the bank? My heart dropped. I never said that. I knew I didn't. But I also knew how easy it was to twist words, take things out of context, or fake screenshots. You're lying, I said. She shrugged. Maybe, maybe not. But who do you think they'll believe? Me, a mother with 2 kids. Or you, some guy living on a friend's couch. Her words hit hard. She didn't just refuse to help. She threatened me. She was ready to flip the story and make me look like the bad one. Then she laughed. You're so dramatic, she said. Fine. I'll pay you back if it matters that much. I'll give you $500 a month. I stared at her. That would take over 30 years. She smiled again. Well, it's something. Something. She stole over $500,000 and wanted to give me pocket change like I was begging. At that moment, something inside me snapped. It wasn't just anger anymore. It was fire. It was a tight, burning feeling I couldn't push down. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't scared. She thought she had won. I got up without finishing my drink. I didn't say goodbye. I just walked out. As I stepped into the parking lot, I knew one thing clearly. She wasn't going to fix this. I was. And I wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. I didn't know what to do next. My mind was a mess. Every option felt wrong. I didn't trust my family anymore, and I couldn't fix this alone. One evening, while talking to a friend, I broke down and told him everything. He listened quietly, then said, "You need a lawyer." At first, I shook my head. I don't have the money for that. But he insisted and said he knew someone. A lawyer who worked with people hurt by fraud or scams. Just talk to her, he said. It won't cost anything to ask. The next day, I met her. She was calm, sharp, and focused. I showed her the papers, the loan documents, and even the messages my sister sent me. I told her the whole story from the beginning. She listened without interrupting. Then she said, "This isn't just fraud. This is identity theft. You have a strong case." She asked if I had anything in writing or any recordings. That's when I remembered the audio I recorded during our last meeting. Her voice, her words, her excuses. I had forgotten all about it. I played it for the lawyer. She sat quietly, listening, her face serious. When the recording ended, she looked at me and said, "This changes everything. You need to report this to the police, and we'll start the legal process right away." My heart sank. Taking legal action meant war. It meant bringing everything into the open, in front of strangers, in court, and maybe even on the news. It meant turning against my own sister. My family would never forgive me. I told her I wasn't sure. She leaned in and said, "You didn't do this." She did, and she's not going to stop unless someone stops her. I left her office with her business card in my hand and a storm in my chest. I sat in my car for almost an hour, just staring at the dashboard. My phone buzzed. A message from my mum. "Please don't do anything. Let's talk again. She's still your sister." I wanted to believe her, but then I looked at my phone and opened the recording one more time. I listened to my sister's voice, calm, cold, and careless, as she lied and laughed. In that moment, I stopped feeling guilty. I opened my contacts and dialed the lawyer's number. "I'm ready," I said. And with that, everything began to change. The case was officially filed. The legal process moved faster than I expected. I thought it would take months just to get started, but within a few weeks, I was sitting in a courtroom facing the person who had ruined my life. My sister didn't look worried at first. She showed up in a nice outfit, acting like this was all some big mistake that would go away. But when the evidence started coming out, her face changed. The lawyers began with documents. They showed fake pay stubs that had her name on them, made to look like she had a job with a high salary. Then they showed copies of W-2 forms that had been altered. She had changed numbers and even employer names to make herself look more stable than she really was. They found out she had worked with a shady loan broker who helped her put the whole thing together. That broker had been involved in other bad deals before. It was clear she hadn't done this alone, but she had done it knowingly. When the judge saw everything, he didn't hold back. He called her actions deliberate and dishonest. He said it wasn't just a mistake, it was a full plan to cheat the system using my name. He ordered a freeze on the house, meaning she couldn't sell it or live there freely anymore. That's when things started to fall apart for her. Her job found out about the case. They put her on leave, and later, she was let go. She had worked so hard to build a good career, but now it was slipping away. News started to spread. Local websites picked up the story. A woman steals her brother's identity for a house. It made headlines. People at her church started asking questions. Old friends reached out to me, shocked by what they heard. At home, things weren't any better. My parents stopped calling. They didn't show up in court. My dad didn't even respond to my texts. My mum just sent one message. "I can't believe you're doing this to your sister." Extended family picked sides. Some cousins supported me, saying I was right to fight back. Others told me to drop it and forgive her, but I stayed quiet. I let the lawyers talk. I let the truth speak for itself. Every lie she told, every fake paper she filed, every time she smiled while I suffered, it was all laid out in front of the judge. And this time, she couldn't talk her way out. After months of waiting, the court finally gave the decision. My sister was ordered to pay back the full amount of the loan, plus extra money for the damage she caused to my life. The total was more than she could ever afford. She had no choice but to sell the house. The place she once called her dream home was listed for sale, and a few weeks later, it was gone. Just like that, the fancy kitchen, the backyard, and the picture-perfect life were taken away. People she once called friends stopped talking to her. She tried to hide what happened, but word had already spread. Her name had become a warning, not a success story. No one trusted her anymore. She couldn't escape it. I thought that after the judgment things would feel easier, but they didn't. My parents came to me again. This time, my mother was crying more than before. "She's lost everything," she said. "Isn't that enough?" My dad stood beside her, silent but waiting for my answer. They wanted me to cancel the rest, to forget the payments, to stop the legal follow-up. I said no. They looked at me like I was a stranger. My mother begged me not to let the family fall apart. "You're her brother," she kept saying. "Don't turn your back now." But they didn't understand. I wasn't the one who walked away first. She did, and they followed her. Even after the court decision, rebuilding my life was slow. My credit didn't bounce back overnight. Some bills were still unpaid. Some places still rejected me. But little by little, things got better. I found a new apartment, small but clean and mine. I got a steady job. I started saving money again. I stopped waking up in the middle of the night, panicked about things I couldn't control. Peace returned, but it came at a price. I don't visit home anymore. No one calls to invite me over. Holidays are quiet. Birthdays pass without messages. The people I once trusted now feel like strangers. There are times when I miss them. There are moments when I wonder if I did the right thing. But then I remember the silence when I needed them most. The lies. The pressure to stay quiet. I didn't choose to lose my family. I chose to protect myself. And for the first time in a long time, that felt like the right choice. Time passed. The noise faded. No court dates. No calls from banks. No more messages from lawyers. Just quiet. In that quiet, memories returned. Childhood moments, family dinners, laughter in the living room. Before everything changed, one day, a letter came in the mail. I knew the handwriting right away. My sister. The envelope was thin, simple, no return address. I didn't open it. I just stared at it for a while, then slid it into a drawer without reading. Later that week, my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. She said they wanted to plan a family holiday. "Just like old times," she wrote. "We miss you." I didn't reply. I walked outside instead. The air was cold, but it felt fresh. I looked up at the sky, watched the wind move through the trees. I breathed deeply. I thought about what they did, what they didn't do, how they let me suffer in silence, even when they knew the truth. They didn't protect me, they protected her, and now they wanted to pretend it never happened. I wasn't angry anymore, just tired. Tired of being the one who always had to forgive, forget, move on. Some things leave marks too deep to cover. The letter stayed in the drawer. I didn't burn it. I didn't throw it away. I just left it there, untouched, like a closed door I didn't want to open. And now I ask you, if someone you loved broke your trust, destroyed your name, and left you alone to fix it all, would you forgive them, or would you walk away like I did?